Well, my presentation is reacting to symbols for emergency scenarios. I will speak about the icons, symbols, pictograms oriented to critical experiences. Oh, an important part of everyday life is interacting with information. This symposium has been related with this idea. Among them, the visual representations. In everyday life, we use indistinctly many types of symbols, many types of icons, and it's interesting how we use this very naturally. However, this normality, this natural interaction is altered in an emergency. This constitutes, the emergency experience constitutes a complex experience with large information needs. Thank you. The disruptive scenarios usually entail limited access to information or lack of certainty. This is a challenge for effective communication. This is a very terrible picture from a journalist being in the middle of a city in the southern part of Chile, in Patagonia, during an eruption of a volcano. All the daily life of that people living in Chaitén, the name of the city, changed from a moment overnight, from a moment to other. And all that people must, from that moment, to displace, to move to other place, to reconstruct their life. So it's important to state this change of experience during the normal life versus the experience of emergency. I have developed this kind of conceptual model. You have 3 different times: the moment before an event, during an event, and then the after event. In the moment before, you can manage risks. It's important to prepare information for identification of hazards, to learn about the procedures, to prepare for your eventual experience. When the event starts, everything changes. You must to pass to actions, to take decisions, to report rapidly, for example, with your family. Then the third part, the last part, is an uncertain moment. You never know when you are completely recovered from an event. If this event is personal, probably can be more rapidly to be recovered. But when you have an entire city or entire region or entire country, even in a war, in an earthquake, probably you never know when you will be completely recovered. So it is important for that stage to assemble, to articulate, and of course to rebuild or try to rebuild your life. In all these stages, information is a continuum, from the managing of risks and preparedness before to reaction during, towards recovery and articulating after an emergency. This is a global concern also. The UN, through the Sendai framework in 2015, started to define 4 priorities to manage the risks. And one priority is about communication. Visual information in this case can make a difference in visualizing, understanding, and enhancing communication for disaster risk reduction. I will use this acronym, disaster risk reduction, DRR, in the rest of this presentation. Of course, designing information is related also with this experience of preparing that right information for every moment. In a first stage, seeing what is visualized, then trying to understand, to present information that is comprehended by the people, the communities, and then converting, transforming, applying that information that was visualized and understood into actions. What is this information activating? So emergency scenarios constitute opportunities to integrate information design principles, optimizing messages and focusing on effectiveness. The experience of emergency can be optimized by delivering timely and clear information. And specifically, symbols display opportune information and deliver common meanings, as we can see, we can be reviewed during this symposium, contributing to embracing the Dreyfuss spirit of simple universality. I will question also in a few moments this concept of universal understanding, universal or symbols for universal understanding. So I hope that it will be interesting for you to check that. Well, specifically, symbols for emergency are mainly focused on signage for safety, warnings, actions, or prohibitions. As Karel showed before, sometimes you can see this in leaflets, in signage, in street signs, or today in interfaces, in applications, in your own phone, etc. They try to cover the whole emergency experience. So information can cover these stages before, during, and after an emergency. Here you can see examples from ISO, from the NPO in Japan, and of course, this very influential work of Yuki Ota with the emergency exit sign. I am presenting you today the GAML icons. This is an open source initiative of symbols with a focus on making the discussion about disaster risk reduction and emergency more accessible and inclusive. These are 85 symbols, more or less. It's an open access font. You can download it and use it in your own projects, and everything is available from a website, in this case, www.gamil.info. We started this project in 2016, thinking about, well, probably we will put some resources for people's organizations, colleagues, that they will come and download that font. But however, we discovered very rapidly that we needed something more. We started to research and then realized that interpretations change in different cultures or places, modifying the construction of meanings. So we understood in that moment that new challenges emerge for visual communication. So we started also to test, to raise from that research stage after the design of the visual design, how we could improve the understanding, the meaning of every symbol. So beyond their visual design, symbols became permanently tested, collecting preferences and interpretations. We developed these two different tests. One is about preferences. You put different choices and people choose, participants choose which of that options match better and specific description. In this case, which of these icons, these two icons at the left, represent evacuation way. And in the right, the meaning test, it presents one icon with a simple question: what does this icon represent? We collect, in this case, open responses. All the testing methods, the two described, showed here, and explain it in a visual language journal article from 2018. Here I'm explaining more in detail the methodology that we use in the meaning tests. We have the icons at the left. This is a representation. We try to get an interpretation with this question: what does this icon represent? We get an open response Then in the test, following some principle from ISO, the work of Christoph Brugger, the work of Jorge Frascara, we get this categorization of 6 different levels: correct, almost correct, ambiguous, incorrect, opposite, and non-response given. We collect at least 200 responses from every icon, and then we categorize these responses in a performance index. We follow the ISO acceptance of 83%. The ANSI in the US uses a more strict performance index of 85% to approve one icon. Open responses. So open responses reveal meaningful associations or misinterpretations of emergency representations. Here at the right, in this animation, you can see word clouds from a series of tests that we applied from 2021 to this year, early this year. You can see at the left the 15 icons that we tested in this round, and the performance at the right, upper right there. So you can see that we get different performances, and this change when we had the opportunity to repeat the test of in a specific icon, we got some different responses according from the places that the people came to respond, to participate. So we have discovered that the responses not only change from place to place, geographically speaking, they change in a specific location from age to age, to Etarian or age ranges. So people that is more related with emergency, more familiarized with some elements, also try to respond differently. And of course, we got also very satisfactory indexes in some of the icons. So this is an opportunity also to develop research, work with students in the School of Design at the Universidad Católica have been in Santiago, have been very important to take this data, to experiment, to follow some information design principle in order to collaborate in this work. So here you can see it passed really fast. It is a visualization got realized with row graphs, just to analyze the different responses and then trying to reveal how complex, how diverse can be the interpretation of a single icon. So the tests help to validate the effectiveness of symbols as a resource to enhance the communication for emergencies. Here in this animation, you can see also an evolution from icons in the first version, the version 10, to version 15, that is the 1.5 really. And you can see how some of the icons have been improved thanks following the testing performance, but also the comments. Everyone can leave a comment or drop a comment in the survey in the process of testing. I don't remember if I mentioned, but all these testing methodologies are also open access. So if you are interested to know more about or use that methodologies to test your own icons, just drop me a line via email. I can share that. So I would like to finish to go to beyond symbols. We discovered with this process of designing icons, symbols, and then testing that we could make anything more, we can reach, go beyond the design, the visual design. So we discovered that emergency scenarios were also a good opportunity for participatory design. And we started to work in a platform, in this case as an online platform, to teach some participatory workshops. This was done during the pandemics. In working at the left, you can see an animation from a school, primary school kids that went to a specific day, and they experimented with the symbols and the supports and colors, and started to construct their own interpretations. In this case, the emphasis is not put on the result. Of course, they are not designing a new signage. They are just conversating. They are creating a dialogue context to talk about something that is not common to talk. At the right, you can see the same experience, but with design students in Lima, in Peru, doing this from my own studio in Santiago, online, through Illustrator template. They can also create their own meanings, connecting with their own reality, everyday reality, and then we discuss this in an open workshop. Of course, working with communities, in this case, at the left, with again with the secondary school, but not with the students. In this case, it was done with their teachers and assistants. In a specific scenario, it was a tsunami evacuation, how you can think and organize your evacuation in a case of tsunami, following a methodology, Japanese originated methodology called disaster imagination game. And at the right, I worked this year. These two cases are from 2022 with design students also in Valdivia about climate emergencies. What is coming apart from earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., how we can also define a role of design or communication design, information design for critical scenarios that are probably coming. And of course, this has been an international effort. You can see that some workshops have been done in Wuxi, China, in Orange County, the US. This project is part also of a network called the Design Network for Emergency Management. So real interesting colleagues there working from education, from volcanology, from the emergency responders. So it has been created also a good network of different collaborators. Of course, creating this collaboration contributes to global objectives like the communication for disaster risk management, as I mentioned before. But as Daniel showed this morning, we have developed a specific version of the Gmail icons to OpenMoji or for OpenMoji. So today is part of, in this nightmare of Unicodes, we define it collaboratively a space to create also a series of Gmail icons in the language of OpenMoji. And at the right, you can see some experimental work from students developing stickers, stickers for WhatsApp and Telegram in order to also reach these spaces of virtual or digital communication. Finally, this is a very interesting experiment also during the pandemics. We invite some specific communities. Here I want to say thanks also to Lisbeth Bravo. She called Mexican communities, and we translated, using the same icons, we translated the texts in more than 15 different languages, but not languages like English or French or German, that of course they are in the series of Gmail Info Kits, but also we translated to Guarani, to Quechua, to Nahua, to Mapudungun, to Creole, local languages, and we discovered the real role beyond hegemony of the signage, the real involvement that this information in your own language can create for people. And this is the last one. We have these activators. These are kind of experimental piece that we are creating for specific scenarios, trying to connect more the icons with texts in order to create pieces for specific scenarios like evacuation, in this case, in a vertical evacuation that is a specific maneuver that they develop in a tsunami evacuation. So just finishing, I want to invite you, take your mobile phone now, scan this QR. I can repeat it later, but if you have your phone now there, and participate in this international testing initiative. We are running now the 5th series of testings, and probably your responses, surely, not probably, your responses will appear later in our research part. So this is the final slide. I would like to say thanks again, gracias in español. This is my email. If you want to put in contact with me, I will be more than happy to collaborate. As I mentioned this morning after the first round of presentations, I think one challenge that we have as communication information designers, symbol designers, is to create a state of collaboration that is really, really necessary in this world of today. So many thanks. Thank you again to the organizer, Sue, for this opportunity to share my research. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's really, really timely that Vera Pong is speaking next. Okay.
Oh, I can share something that I had. If Vera Pong, could you give me one more minute, Vera Pong?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
Good.
Hi. Can I just say, I worked with the BBC called Connecting in a Crisis a few years ago about how the BBC work with crisis management. Might be useful.
Well, it was amazing.
You know that that we are trying to take the future or current, not future, challenges like climate scenarios to trying to go beyond this. I'm not sure that I don't have audio. Now we have audio. It's this is another work from a student to show the project in 1 minute. So this video lasts just 1 minute to describe again the topics that I showed in the presentation. So thank you again for.
There is a motto which has been
You.
Very good.
Rodrigo, while we wait, I was just going to mention, your work, it just makes me think about, so many natural disasters that have occurred, where later on we found out that there were people from all around the world in those territories.
Yeah.
And how valuable, to be able to go to a country maybe where we don't speak the language or understand all the cultural nuances, to be able to, navigate, especially in times of climate crisis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And if you missed the QR code, this is the link for the testing platform. Please share it, because as we collect more interpretations, we are more sure that which icons are functioning in some places or some specific segments, and which other are being improved along the time. Thank you very much.